Good morning, guys, and welcome to the video. So as you can see, I'm currently underneath the truck, and that is because the motor is in. So I should a picture of it last night. I'll go ahead and flip you guys around real quick and show you what's up. Alrighty, so here we are underneath the truck. As you can see, that's the motor right there. The paint comes out a lot better on camera than it does in real life. In real life, it's not quite that good looking, but whatever. Anyway, just finished getting the trans bolts on so I can get to the top two trans bolts from the top of the motor, which I did. And it's got this top one right there, that one, and there's two more on the opposite side. So the trans bolts are all in, torqued down. I need to grab an oil filter at some point and throw it on. So let's see now, what else did that leave us? So that's pretty much everything underneath here. I still have to hook up the torque converter to the flex plate. So that's on a to-do list for the bottom side, and then the starter. But I mean, exhaust manifolds need to go on, as you can see, and there's a bunch of other stuff. So I'm just kind of slowly knocking stuff out. I'm not in a rush, and then I'm probably not going to put this video out until after I get at least everything buttoned up. Maybe not first start, but most of the stuff buttoned up anyway. Yeah, motor mounts are on, torque down, so those are good. Just plugging and chugging as we're going along. That's about it. So I think right now I'm going to go ahead and flip to the top side a little bit and start buttoning up some more stuff there. Probably find the grounds and start doing those next. I think would be the good course of action. All right, so you guys can get a good look at the top side. So the only thing I've done so far is just put a little bracket on the bottom for the power steering, or not power steering, for the transmission lines, and a wire harness bracket. I also just pulled off the pulley for the AC idler. The bearing spins freely, which is great, but it's super loose is the best way to put it. So I went ahead and bought a new idler for the AC line, and then I have a bunch of different pulleys and stuff I need to throw in here as well, water pump, some other stuff. But just kind of slowly chugging along, getting stuff taken care of. So I'm just going to keep updating as I go. It's pretty much the plan. Alrighty, so next update. Well, got the water pump on, its gaskets, got my thermostat on and its gasket. Changed out the idler pulley, so I have the tensioner pulley, my bad, and the tensioner is now on. Changed out the AC idler pulley slash tensioner. Changed out the only actual idler, which just sits here and does nothing. Went ahead and bolted the bracket back on for the power steering and alternator. So as you can see, it's coming together. Pretty cool difference, see the new and old metals together. But yeah, that's probably gonna wrap it up for today. I'll be coming back at it tomorrow once I get off. But so far so good, guys. Everything is coming together pretty well. I have the starter back in, and that's hooked up, flex plate and flywheel and all that stuff's back together. So yeah, pretty much just top end stuff to button up. I got to put on the exhaust manifolds and exhaust still, fan and all that fun stuff, and she'll be about done. So coming along pretty good. Alrighty, guys. So quite a bit has changed since you last saw the last clip. Went ahead and threw on the intake. I still got to torque it down. Fuel lines are hooked back up. This is my freaking upper radiator hose right here. Got the fan and the fan shroud back in. Exhaust is now hooked up. As you can see, I have new exhaust hardware and gaskets. If I want to go turbos down the road, I'd figured no point in getting new manifolds right now. They work fine, so left that alone. Right now, I started filling up with coolant, and on my old motor, the coolant temperature sensor broke off, and it goes this guy, and it goes right in there. So I just ordered a new one, and that's what you see there. And there's a plug right there in the back that was on this side over here. So this is a slightly different gear motor, so there's a few minute changes that are here and there. I'm not sure if they just plugged the wrong side or what, but I threw it on that side to block off that little coolant passage. And then we're going to throw the one on this side over here. Got our new belts on. This is a pretty nice looking belt, a little bit of a rib on the back side, or some kind of grip pattern, a little different. It's a Continental belt off Rock Auto. Yeah, guys, all in all, she's getting there. So now once I get the other coolant sensor in, I'm going to keep filling up with coolant, top off the system. I figured I might as well fill it through this just because the whole block was empty, and it's just easier than it'll make sure the water pump's primed and everything, and then I'll work on getting air bubbles out afterwards. But as of right now, this is kind of the route I'm going with. So all in all, not too shabby. There's definitely a good bit of oil that pooled up inside the throttle body when I had it off. I had it at a slight angle, so there's a lot of oil inside this intake. This is the stock my original intake. I got one with the motor, decided to use this one instead. I'm undecided if I'm going to maintain using these valve covers or not. The only reason is on this style, the PCV valve is built into the valve cover. And on mine, I can just pop out the PCV valve and pop in a new one. So I need to take these off anyway when I first crank it up to see if there's oil pressure and make sure that a little bit of oil spurts out. And we're all good there. I may take that opportunity to swap them over with my old ones. I'm not sure yet on that. I kind of like the orange, and I don't really want to deal with painting my new ones. That's a super lazy excuse, but that's the reality of it. So I don't know yet. Anyway, I'm going to pop in this coolant sensor, get that plugged in. That's pretty much the last plug that I have to plug in, which is right there. And then after that, I mean, fill it with oil. I bought a new oil drain plug. The old one looked a little stripped. Not old one, but the one that came with this motor. And I just want to make sure I have a solid plug and don't need to worry about anything. No leaks or weird issues like that. Yeah, guys, other than that, I haven't popped on the coil pack covers yet, or coil packs and spark plugs yet, because I want to turn it over with no compression just to make it easier on the starter and not stress anything, and just make sure oil's flowing everywhere first before I put the plugs in, and then plug the injectors in and all that fun stuff. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and hop to it, and hopefully next clip you'll be seeing, well, I don't know, we'll figure out what we see. I'm not sure if I'm going to start it today or if I'll be starting it tomorrow, just based on how far I get and how I feel comfortability-wise. But it's coming along for sure. Alrighty, so as you can see, went ahead and topped it off. I just added some through the reservoir, and that's what brought it up to this level right here. So we are definitely even across, in theory, even across both the motor, the radiator, and the reservoir, depending upon, actually, possibly not the radiator, because this real thermostat hasn't opened up yet. So, I mean, that's probably still full. I spilled some coolant because I was being retarded, and filled that too quick and let it bubble. But nothing's leaking, so we're good. When I did this last time, that plug back there just poured out coolant as soon as it got even with the head. Learning is occurring, so we're getting there. I'm going to go and throw this upper radiator hose on, and then probably change out the fuel filter still. I haven't done that yet. And the oil drain plug, and I'll show you when I get down there what I'm doing. Alright, so underneath the truck now, so that's my oil drain plug I'm changing out. It's not too bad, but the edges look a little rounded out to me. Hang on. So I think I'm going to go ahead and swap that out. And then my fuel filter is right there. So there's no pressure in the lines because I just unplugged them for the manifold, which is kind of why I want to do this now. It's probably still going to leak a little bit, but better than squirting everywhere. So that's the task right now. We'll go ahead and pull that guy out and get it done. So I figure while I'm down here, I'm also going to throw in the oil filter. So I went ahead and got a Wix, got it off AMSOIL, and then I got the AMSOIL braking oil that we're going to be using for this. So SA30, so I'm going to go ahead and top off this filter and throw it in. Just because there's no oil in this motor right now, I want to try and make sure that it has the least amount of dry time as possible, and it trying to fill a full oil filter, just adding precious seconds to make sure nothing happens. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, and that's going to go in right there. Just added 6 quarts of AMSOIL braking oil. Pretty much everything's ready to go minus the intake manifold being on, easier to access with it, or sorry, intake itself being on because it's easier to access without it on at the moment. I'm going to go and throw in the spark plugs. I'm not tightening them down. I'm not going to do this first start today because once you start it, there's a whole like 30-minute braking procedure to go through. Then you turn it off, restart the motor, or turn it off, drain the oil, put more braking oil in it, and then you do a 500-mile break-in. I believe I have to double check before I actually send it, which is one of the reasons I'm not doing it today. Drain that oil out, and then you should be good for regular oil after that. So, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and leave you off here. I'm going to throw these plugs in overnight just to keep anything from getting in the cylinders, make sure they're nice and dry. And then after that, that's about it, guys. So tomorrow should be the first start, and that'll be the next part of the video. So I'll go ahead and throw that in tomorrow. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's been a real adventure for me for sure. This is not something that I was planning on doing in a parking lot, but it is what it is, and you can only do so much. So fingers crossed that everything works out. Oil's in the motor, like I was saying, plugs are in, so I'm going to pull those out tomorrow. We're going to pull the valve cover off and make sure that oil is getting to the valves, which would in turn mean the oil circulating throughout the engine. And then after that, it's going to be go time. So I'm excited. It's definitely been a long time coming. Well, yeah, I've had this motor for almost a month now, and it's going to be interesting. So stay tuned for the next video, and I will see you in the next one.